men who wear S-curl have strong powers over women. That's because women love natural-looking waves and curls, which men can get in just minutes with the quick and easy S-curl. It works like a charm.
If you were a young brother in the mid to late 80s going into the early 90s, there's no doubt at some point you considered going through the trouble of getting a jerry curl so that you can get more attention from the young ladies. And if you didn't want to go through bottles of activator juice so that you could mimic the gentleman that's dancing on the ceiling or dancing all night long, then you'd consider getting an S-curl, which is kind of an intermediate, which was not as wet and drippy as a jerry curl, but it still gave you that appearance of being a kind of elite, slick guy. And if you turn on your television to look for S-curls, well, of course we saw Lando Calrissian with one of the S-curls for the ages. But there's another S-curl that all of us can remember, especially his music. I'm sure for Zs and millennials, they look at Gen Xers like myself and wonder how we could have been such simps. But there's a time where on a regular weekend, movies like Jason's Lyric would come out, and attached to this movie was a soundtrack with a song called Crazy Love from Brian McKnight, sounding like this. I can hear her heartbeat from 1,000 miles. If you're not familiar with the movie Jason's Lyric, it's kind of an urban hip-hop love story centered in Houston, where you have Alan Payne falling in love with Jada Pinkett Smith now, and it was a love story of two light-skinned people with curly hair doing what Brian McKnight is singing about. There are times where I feel like an anthropologist of some sort, because I'm sure it's very difficult for Gen Zs and younger millennials to believe that this kind of music was in heavy rotation on the radio, but it was. And it was playing on BET. And I own this CD, and I listened to this CD with my girlfriend at the time, who was black. And we did what teenagers do when you listen to this kind of song. But it's a beautiful song. And when you listen to the lyrics, it just reminds you of a softer Brian McKnight. I can hear her heartbeat from 1,000 miles. Hear the heavens every time she smiles. And when I come to her, that's where I belong. I run into her like a river strong. And then he says the chorus. She gives me love, 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 love. Crazy love. And as only Brian McKnight can do with 4 words sang in repetition, love, love, like that. And he ends the chorus with crazy love. And now Brian McKnight sounds like this.
It's been a long journey getting to this day, October 16th, 2025, but we are here in the English countryside, about an hour and a half outside of London, and the verdict is in. We've been quiet, listening to liars continue to lie and keeping to ourselves, living and loving our life, as we said, leaving everything in God's hands and letting our lawyer do the talking.
It's interesting hearing the love song singing Brian McKnight sound extremely different in today's post. Instead of using love, 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 crazy love, he's saying lawyer, 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 my really good lawyer. And it's a testament to the fact that, well, many of the people complaining about today's dating pool, I guess they have a reason to complain, because if it could jade Brian McKnight, then that pool is dirty as heck.
Dating in this generation sucks because it's not dating. It's prostitution. That's what they're doing. They're not dating. Babe, you're looking on the internet like, I want to date like that. They're not dating. She's a prostitute.
What they call you?
You gonna pay my rent? You gonna pay my rent?
That's the first words you gonna say? You one of them?
I am one of them.
For real? I'm gonna give you a second chance. What's your name?
My dad drives a Rolls Royce.
Oh, for real?
Choose corner. Is this? No, not in church.
Sex work is easy money.
Wait, this is Hell no.
All right, Violet, Holly, you guys are a neutral. Why is that?
I say yes because when you're attractive, I can just post a
picture, and then I make money off that. So I say it's easy in that way. But no, because of what we go through mentally and physically when we do these scenes where we have to train for do, and it's not really as easy as people make it seem.
Get pregnant. So I'm like, hey, now I'm like, I got to cut it off. I can't do this no more. I'm pregnant. And he was like, you know who the baby daddy is? I'm like, yeah, it's my husband, you know what I'm saying? He was like, no. I'm like, yeah. So he's telling me I'm pulling the condom off. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Whose baby was it?
It was the husband's. Well, okay. We ain't never do a paternity test. We just going off. We're going off of looks. Okay. And she looks like the other sibling, so we just say it's the husband's.
Is he someone that's your type?
Help me.
But why not?
Everything.
Help me.
It's the glasses, the ball.
Red pill men also have an obsession with looks and youth. So if you're always hearing men talk about a woman's looks or you're too old, kind of like the whole hitting the wall thing, they're red pill. It is what it is.
They get even creepier with it. They'll be like, women are the most fertile when they're 13.
Yeah.
You often hear guys in this particular space say that they would like to date not only younger ladies, but ladies that have had less dating history, because it may not necessarily solely be the physical aspect, but it's the mental and emotional aspect that comes from dealing with a large number of guys. And you're going to see that they're not really having this argument in good faith because of where they go with it. But simply put, guys don't want to deal with the load of emotional trauma that comes from dealing with a, quite simply put, dirty dating pool.
They'll be like, women are the most fertile when they're 13.
Yeah. It's
what
like,
the
but would be some of them, not all of them, but would be ready to kill if some grown man was talking that about their 12-year-old daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what about your 12-year-old daughter? Are you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But it's okay for you to subject somebody else's daughter, but you don't want. And don't get me wrong, I know there's plenty of men who don't care about their daughters at all. I know plenty of them.
At best, like a lot of these men, especially the red pill men, are territorial. They're not protective. They're just territorial. They're like, that's my daughter. Like, you're not going to say that about her.
It's interesting hearing these two relatively young and I guess relatively good-looking young ladies make these points about red pill men, because they're kind of sort of making the point for red pill men instead of shaming red pill men, even though they're using ages 12 and 13 on purpose to try and shame guys. Really, the point that they're making without trying to make it is that their exposure to this toxic dating pool of the guys that can basically say what they want to say, do what they want to do, but because they look a certain way or they live a certain lifestyle or whatever, they can basically have access to these young ladies sexually, physically. And essentially what they want is for the non-attractive guys or the guys that they weren't attracted to come in and regulate the dating pool and make those guys that quote unquote lied to them on the front end act right. And quite simply put, nobody's getting in the pool to try and regulate that, because the guys that are in that pool, they know exactly the games to play to get what they want in that pool. And that's why we stay out of it.
I know some dudes that are willing to wait for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, however many days you come up with, Steve Harvey told you to.
Oh.
And once they hit, they out, or they'll show you who they really are. So I would actually say what women should spend more time doing is investigating why it is that they are so attracted to toxicity.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but why do niggas who beat women always have a bitch to beat on? Like, are y'all attracted to that? Because y'all just be, the nigga always got some shit to beat on, right? All the abusers be having shit to abuse.
Who was interested first? Who said I love you first? Who cleans more?
What I find most interesting in all of this is that women have essentially been told that it's their right to spread their wings and jump face first into the modern dating pool. Toxic or not, it is a rite of passage. And when brothers try to go overseas, for some reason, they want to follow us.
So, a lot of the men are traveling to Thailand and they are out there, doing their thing, right? They messing with women, whatever. Well, you got this black woman that decides to go to Thailand, and I don't know why some of these women are showing up in these places where these men are going. But let's go ahead and check that out.
Let me tell y'all, I be seeing my brothers out here getting themselves some of these Thai girls, honey. Well, they all out here getting the Thai girls. But you could tell it's lopsided. And what I mean by lopsided, you could tell those girls be too pretty for the men that they be with. Black or white. I be looking like, girl, what you going on? But I get it though, you know. But you do see beautiful couples here too. But I be looking like y'all came all the way out here to get yourself a Thai girl, which is fine because the Thai girls are beautiful. But it just be looking so weird because some of these girls be so beautiful and the guys be like monsters. like they be looking like straight Fat Albert and Freddy Krueger mixed together, and they be having this supermodel looking Thai girl.
Take my troubles away. Take away my grief.
But according to the courts, trying to ruin my name and trying to bring harm to my family in a book filled with lies equals $8.8 million. And this is just the beginning, because anyone and everyone that helped promote these lies will hear from my lawyer in the days to come. No weapon formed against us shall prosper.
Over the past few years, we've heard a lot of slander about Brian McKnight from his ex-wife and the children that they had together, calling him a deadbeat, etc. But after a $9 million judgment on his behalf, it's pretty obvious that somebody in the judicial system felt that he was wronged. And in order to get to where he is now, he went scorched earth, not just on the wife and the family that he created, but essentially the American dating space. And he chose to go somewhere where he could find someone that looks very different than him, but find what we're all looking for. Someone that cares about him for who he is and not what he brings to the table and what they can get out of him. We're talking about one of the major singers of the 90s in terms of love song music, Brian McKnight, getting to a point where he's letting his lawyers do the talking. And it's an indictment on how modern dating has gotten. It's a dirty pool, if you will, where even Brian McKnight chose to get out of the pool and say, I am not swimming in this pool anymore. This is not the game for me. And so, of course, if Brian McKnight is having issues, then you can imagine what regular guys like us might have dealt with or probably still dealing with trying to date in this kind of dating pool. And so when you see guys get their passports, it's only natural. You're trying to not participate in a pool that's, simply put, dirtied, muddied, where guys say anything they got to say to get what they want, and young ladies feel it's their right to spend 10, 15, 20 years in that dating pool and then come out of it and say, one, all you guys are terrible, you're crappy, but you still owe me all of your resources because a real man would do that. And simply put, that's not the pool that any sensible man wants to be swimming in. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below. I'll catch you next video. Take care, guys.